come to the final episode of what was intended as the first of many seasons for SG, but ended up as its only season. It should be noted that this was the first episode produced and written to be the post-Car episode, so in actuality making Exit Light Enter Night the last produced episode, but Gary Scott Thompson had the episode switched as he felt I Love the Nightlife was more of a good episode to end on. He is right in some way, but then one could argue that Exit Light was equally a good episode to end on. Everyone turned in a solid performance, including Kevin Alejandro, who played Victor Galt, who basically turned into a toned-down version of the Hulk by injecting the HXP serum, becoming the Incredible Galt. It was a rare occasion to see Mike outmatched and compromised due to the injury sustained from Galt. It makes you wonder if Abraham Erskine had developed it, turning a regular man into a super soldier. A nice reference to Michael Knight Sr. is made when trying to ID Mike that his file came back clean and no one had ever heard of him. Those that know their Knight Rider lore will know that any time they tried to run a check on Michael Knight, that up until 2 years ago, he didn't exist. Zoe manages to gain access to the government databases as she knows specific sounds of each click of the keys that are made and resumes Torres' last session that he was logged into. Even in his absence, the douche is still paying dividends. Who knew? Using a nightclub or any other kind of business as a means of laundering money is nothing new in entertainment, as it just masks the nature of an antagonist business. This is where we see stock footage used from Journey to the End of Night from the perspective of Sarah Sunglass's camera, with seeing girls lounging by the swimming pool, and with the music that seems a little too annoying for Mike, and gets even more so as Kit hacks the DJ booth and plays I Love the Nightlife by Alicia Bridges, which the clubbers take exception to as that's too old school for them. I personally like it, as it's got a funky sound. Minnie Andon plays a good hard-nosed club owner in Alexandria Pachinko in luring Mike to be interrogated before being accosted by a drunk Mike and stuffed into the back of Kit's trunk, and then taken back to the SSC where she's then interrogated by Kit. Considering that the serum made Galt more animal feral-like, then it doesn't surprise me that loud sound would compromise him in the same context that if you blow a dog whistle, it drives dogs mad. So the writing was decent for a season finale. It would have been better if there had been more episodes to even further build this momentum, but them's the breaks, I guess. One thing Justin does well as Mike is how to be confrontational when questioning Sarah about having protocols pre-programmed into Kit in the event he's injured. From his perspective, you don't trust me to do my job, or words to that effect. I felt like both Val Kilmer and Kit had progressed and improved by this point, as Val had gotten so comfortable delivering his lines, and Kit's personality was much more developed by this stage that he had a better sense of humour, along with a sense of sarcasm when pointing out Mike confused drinking beer with taking vitamins. But that's the sign of good writing and characters, in the sense of that they are not in the same place at the end where they were at the beginning, if that makes any sense to you. At the start of the season, Mike and Kit are still getting to know each other as partners, and with each episode they become closer to the point where they consider each other as friends. There would have been 5 more episodes for the season, but it was cut to 17 for budget reasons, and the show was still doing well despite the lack of promotion from NBC. I find it amusing when executives go out of their way not to promote a show and it ends still doing well. And this shows how well SG was doing by scoring number 2 against American Idol, which was in a league of its own. But for Knight Rider to finish 2 with 5 million viewers ain't bad. One thing a lot of people do is compare this to the original Knight Rider. I don't think you can, from the perspective of, despite having the same name and DNA of the show, SG tried to be its own thing and wanted to build its own credibility rather than rely on its namesake. The original is respected and beloved, and deservedly so, with the casting, scoring and writing. But it's when I hear such statements as, it needs to be David and the Trans Am, is where I feel like it's grasping at straws. David is still in great shape for a man of his age, no doubt about that. But to ask him to go back out as Michael Knight now just wouldn't work. If he was asked to do an animated Knight Rider movie, then absolutely, have at it. It's the same thing with the Trans Am. While it's still a cool car to look at, cars have come a long way since the original Knight Rider, and the Kit Stang was the one to go with. They had to find a car that was modern and something that a new generation could get into. I grant that's subjective, and I accept that. But could you name other cars that would have been ideal at that time? I will grant that I was not keen on the idea of the Kit Stang to begin with, but as time went on, it grew on me and began accepting it as many other fans. As I mentioned back in the review of Knight in Shining Armour is where I came up with the Kit Stang coinage just on the spur of the moment. I just thought, it's Kit as a Mustang, so Kit Stang. And one of the first videos I saw some weeks after said coinage, I saw a GTA mod video by a very talented mod artist by the name of Toby1. The video simply titled, Riding Around in the Kit Stang. I'm sat at my desk thinking, what did I do? How you doing, by the way, Toby? If you find him on YT, you should check him out with his mod work. Really talented guy, and I'm surprised no gaming company has hired him yet. I think X24 Rider said it best by stating that if the producers had done a little more research and find what made the original work and tried to make the modern show more of a trendsetter and less of a follower, then it might have stuck around a lot more. I think if NBC had been more prudent and realised the show was pulling ratings in, then it would have been a good idea to keep it. Considering that fans wanted to see the prospect of Kit Prime and the Kit Stang working together, that would have been a dream episode. But it was never to be. So, I will close out this first season of Night Watch by saying thank you to Justin Bruning, Deanna Rousseau, Paul Campbell, Smith Cho, Bruce Davison, Val Kilmer, and the rest of the cast and crew that worked on Knight Rider SG. Thank you for giving Knight Rider another chance for a modern audience, and even though it was just resumed for one season, the theme of one man can make a difference continued. Until season 2, where we go back in time to the first season of the original Knight Rider, this has been MJ Knight saying good night from the night.